Hi, my name is Evan, and I am in the process of recovering from an Achilles tendon rupture, which occurred now 5 weeks ago today. And about 2 days after the injury, they put me into this, what they call a cam walker boot, and they put inside two of these 1 centimeter heel lifts in the back of the boot. And as time passes, I'm going to be pulling off some of the layers of these. But that's what I have under my heel right now, and that puts my foot down at about a 20-degree angle, they say. I don't know if it actually is exactly 20 degrees, but 2 centimeters is fairly standard according to the protocols that I've seen out there, some of the more contemporary ones. And for the first 2 weeks, just kind of sat around resting and putting ice on it, waiting for the swelling to go down and waiting for the initial healing of the tendon to take place. I went without surgery, so I'm on a non-operative path, and a lot of data out there says that the real important factor in terms of what your outcome is going to be is how you go through the rehab. So if you have surgery or not seems to be less important to your final outcome than how you approach the rehab. So my physical therapist met with for the first time during my second week. So after 1 week, on the following Tuesday, I think it was, went into physical therapy. And for the first 3 sessions, I think, essentially I got a lymphatic massage is what they called it, to try to dissipate some of the swelling. Just got a massage of the lower leg, and not a lot else. The first couple of things that they had me do, I think in the 3rd session, were to start spreading my toes, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but it wasn't easy to do. Initially I was sending commands to my foot and it wasn't listening, but eventually started to do that, pulled the toes down, had a cramp the first couple of times that I tried that, and then pulled the toes up. And all of that was a little bit uncomfortable and frankly a little bit frustrating when the foot wouldn't listen. But I make these movements part of my routine now. So every time I have the boot off to put ice on it, or if I just have the foot out to breathe, I'm doing this all the time. I've read some stories about atrophy happening on the bottom of the foot, and as you start walking again, you're going to want that strength back. So I make that motion part of my routine multiple times every day. Then the therapist had me starting to do inversion and eversion. So that's now part of my routine. Every time I have the boot off, I'll do this. And more recently, in the last couple of weeks, have started to extend my toes, so as far out as it can go, and then to pull up to neutral. And always kind of feeling for where it gets sensitive, so that the tension really comes on about right there and I don't pull past that. The therapist has started to manipulate my foot into that last week, and frankly it's a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit unsettling, because it's difficult to relax when you feel someone pushing into something that you just ripped asunder not too long ago. But I'm starting to trust her, starting to relax, and when I come out of the physical therapy session, I always feel like I can do more and feel like my range of motion and my level of comfort is much better than it was before. So another recent development is about a week and a half ago, I guess, I was doing that and I felt a twitch here. And that was interesting because for a month this was just sort of a bag of jello. And that was the first time that my calf muscle had given me any indication that it was still alive. So ever since then, I'm not doing it too hard because I don't want to mess with the tendon, but I've been doing isometric contractions. So, you know, hold it for 5 seconds or so and release. Hold it for 5 seconds and release. And it's gone from being a bag of jello to actually being able to see that there's an actual muscle there, so that's progress. And the physical therapist has given me a number of exercises to try to strengthen the leg. This whole thing turned into just skin and bone pretty fast. Within the first couple of weeks, it was amazing how fast the atrophy occurred. So right now the mission is to, while this thing continues to heal, strengthen up the leg so that as I'm walking, which I started to do just over a week ago in the boot, to strengthen everything up so that as I start to take off the boot in about a month's time, at around the 8-week mark, and start walking in shoes, that I have the strength and the balance to be able to deal with that without serious potential for slips or stumbles or anything like that. So to try to get everything as symmetrical as we can, doing what we can here at the house. So I'm going to show you a few of the exercises that my therapist has given me as food for thought. So I'm sure everyone's got their own approach, but these are the things that I've been shown, and I try to make sure that I do every day. So exercise bands, therapy bands. The red is the lightest one. We got this green one, and then for some of the other exercises, we've got this much heavier blue band. But for the basic exercises, inversion against resistance. If you have a table with a nice strong leg, you can secure it to, and that's one way to go. I tend to be in this area, so I just kind of plant it on the ground this way and just twist it in. And you can adjust the tension by just moving where your hand is. But do probably 30 reps of that, and switch it over to the other side. You can hold it with your hand or with your foot. Do about 30 reps in the other direction. Then just using my foot as resistance to exercise the front muscle there, what it's called. So just push and pull it up. However you offer the resistance, just don't do it in a way that you might accidentally push through it and go up beyond neutral, because you don't want to accidentally push that thing too far. And this one was rather sporty the first time. It just doesn't feel right, given that this thing is still healing. But just really lightly at this stage. But just the fact that I could do that was remarkable. So no surgery. It healed. Granted, it's not done healing, but it's healed to the point where this muscle can move that heel and point those toes, which was very satisfying. So do those with the bands. The first exercises that my physical therapist had me do was leg lifts. And as time went by, I think after a couple of weeks with her, she started having me do it with weights. So pretty straightforward. And then for the muscles on the other side. So the way I've been doing these exercises, and I'll do about 30 reps of most of the exercises, and then do 3 sets. So 30 times each one, and if it's a time thing, however long. Then like this, 30 with those. And I'm going too fast right now, but the idea is to go up slowly and then sort of do a negative, bringing it down slowly so your muscles under tension the whole time. And then kind of go as high as you can. And I guess the next exercise, I'm not sure what the official name is, but opposing arms and legs. The emphasis being on keeping your torso as sort of a stable, stationary platform and being balanced the whole time. So don't sag in the middle or droop while you're doing it. So left arm, right leg, and you don't have to send the foot up high, just putting it out. It's an exercise in balance as much as anything else. But count that as 1 rep left and 1 on the right, so that's 1 rep. You do that 30 times, or whatever number is comfortable for you, and just work your way up in quantity over time. Let's see, after that, bridges. And with this one, depending on the condition of your tendon, you may have to put your foot out a little bit further at first and then work your way in. But that platform is part of the exercise. So over time, as you get more comfortable, you can pull your foot in closer, and that'll put that closer to being at a right angle. So whatever is comfortable for you. So with the feet stable on the floor, don't pick it up on your toes or in the heels. You couldn't flat. Just come up into a bridge, hold it for about 5 seconds, and then back down, and repeat. Do that 30 times or whatever number works for you. And clamshell. So you can do this one sort of free like this, or you can take one of the exercise bands and wrap it around your knees to provide more resistance. With this one, whether you have an actual wall or an imaginary one, I was told that you don't want to open up your hips when you're doing this. The idea is to keep your hips vertical, so as you bring your leg up, you should feel the tension right back here. So up, hold it, and then back down. And I was told to do 30 of these and work up to 100 on each side. And so don't just exercise your injured leg, because the other one's just been sitting around as well, so exercise both. So that's a clamshell, do that on both sides to whatever number works for you. And planks. So the basics of the plank are to keep your body straight and your weight going down into your elbows. And so for a forward plank, you can do it either on your knees or up on your feet. In this case, your foot, because I'm not bending my ankle that much yet. And just hold it. And so whatever number works for you, if you can do 30 or 60 seconds or more, it's up to you. But I've been trying to do 3 sets, so for me that works out to about 60 on this in this direction, and about 45 on the side. Been sitting around, so getting weak. So on the side, because of the ankle, I've been doing these to the knee. Just hold it like that. The weight going down straight into the elbow, and watch the clock, or just go till you give out. So left, right, and forward. And a couple other options. Oh, I forgot to mention, on the bridge, she was providing resistance that way. So my substitute for that is actually to put a soccer ball there. So just to keep the muscles on the inside tight while you're doing it. It's better than sitting in the chair. And if you want to work them in, just good old-fashioned leg lifts. And the ever popular bicycle. So those are some of the greatest hits. Exercises to consider. Go see the physical therapist this week. I told her that I was going to be going on a trip, and I flew across the Atlantic at 2 weeks after the injury. It was pretty spectacular, the amount of swelling that I had when I landed. It was actually really concerning. So I asked her if I could get a compression sock, and she was happy to oblige and gave me this. And fortunately they showed me how to put it on, because frankly I probably would have struggled and not been very comfortable doing it. So just in case you happen to go and buy a compression sock over the counter and you're not sure how to get it on without causing yourself a lot of discomfort or pain, here's what she said. So roll it up tight, and in this case I've got this little blue patch on the front that I believe goes up on the top of the foot. And once you get it on there, then it's just a bit of a wrestling match to get it over the heel. If you have an incision, obviously you've got something to wrestle with there, but I think you can probably keep some tension on it, keep it from hitting your tendon. And once you get it past there, you can just go ahead and roll it up. And depending on how long yours is, you might get it bunched up around the knee. One thing I learned was that you definitely don't want to have it bunched up or rolled up, because eventually that's going to start to restrict things and become uncomfortable. So there's a quick 101 on how to put on a compression sock. So my experience, I think, suggests that you should go see a physical therapist as soon as you can. I've read some stories about some people taking up to 3 months before they go to see a physical therapist for the first time. And based on how much atrophy I experienced in only 2 weeks' time, I can only imagine what kind of a hole that must be to try to dig out of. So I would definitely recommend, certainly as soon as you get into a boot, to at least go see a physical therapist, because, or maybe even before that, because even with your foot in a cast, there are some things that you can do. Some of these exercises can be done even when you're in a cast. And when you come out of the boot, you can start getting massages to start breaking up that swelling. and they can start articulating your foot and giving you an indication of what's safe for you to do. In my case, she was starting to move the foot in a couple weeks, and by a month I'm doing toe extensions and that sort of thing. But that's based upon my own personal progress. There's no magic number, but go see a therapist to help you get that professional oversight on what you can safely do. So I started walking just over a week ago, and at first I was pretty tentative about walking. So I would step forward with the injured foot and then bring the other one up next to it, because if I stepped beyond that, it was kind of uncomfortable back in the tendon, and so that was how I started. But watched some videos online about how to properly use the boot, and as the name would imply, the cam walker is intended to be rolled. So the way to do it properly is to sort of plant the weight into the heel, and then to cause the roll by putting force into your shin, not by putting weight on the ball of your foot, because that would involve using your calf and your tendon, and they're not quite ready for prime time yet. So heel weight and then roll forward onto the toe by putting force into the shin. So by doing that, you can get a nearly normal stride length. It feels a little bit awkward at first, but comes with time. The other thing that I've done to sort of help myself is by wearing a shoe and having this foot at nearly the same height as the injured foot. That helps to balance things out a bit. If I'm walking flat-footed in socks or barefoot, it's nowhere near as easy to walk. So definitely recommend wearing a shoe, trying to get things balanced a bit. And I've ordered a product called an Even Up, which is a commercial product specifically to help people deal with imbalances between the two sides. It's useful for a cam walker boot. I forget the exact dimension, but I believe it elevates the entire shoe by about an inch or so, and it straps on to any other shoe. I think it cost about 30 bucks. It seemed like it was a worthwhile expense, given that I'm going to be in this thing for at least another month, and it should be arriving within a few days. And I'll probably put a comment or something on the video to provide some feedback, but it seemed like a worthwhile expense. The other thing that I came to appreciate is that to get around, I can go a few hundred yards comfortably, but if you need to go much further than that, a bike is not a throwaway idea. I got this folding bike so that I could ride it to the train station, and it's great for that. But the other cool thing about it is that I can carry it up and down the steps with one hand on the handrail, going very slowly, and carrying the bike in the other. And unlike my other bikes where the wheels are up, this high, getting a leg over, is probably not what you want to be doing when you're trying to heel. But you can lower the seat on this, and so you can get onto it, stand over it, ride slowly, comfortably, and I can cover a couple of miles as long as I take my time. I don't ride over uneven terrain and that sort of thing. So if you happen to have access or a friend who has a folding bike, it may not be an investment that you want to make for something that you're only going to need for a couple months' time. But having something with a low wheel and being able to lower the seat, it's a great mobility enhancer. I ride this thing to physical therapy. It's about a mile and a half from here. Just take my time, but that to me is a lower risk than walking 300 yards to the first bus stop and then getting off the bus at the other end and walking some 400 or 500 yards from the bus stop to the hospital. With this, I can scoot right up to the front door of the hospital, walk in, and every folding bike has its pros and cons. But one of the neat things about this particular model is that it's got those wheels on the back, so I can actually scoot this thing into the hospital. So something to consider as a way to get around while you're still moving at a reduced pace in the boot. So good luck. So recovering from an Achilles tendon rupture is really an exercise in patience. No matter how you go about it, you need to be patient, you need to be deliberate, and you need to not rush trying to do too much too fast. I've encountered a couple things where I thought I was doing everything right, but I got into a little bit of a rush, and the boot snagged on something, and I planted it kind of hard, and it certainly grabbed my attention. I was fortunate that it didn't cause any damage, but don't let that happen to you. So take everything nice and slow. However, if you're being told that you need to spend 3 months in a cast, followed by a long period of non-weight bearing beyond that, that is probably worth going out, getting your hand on some of these reports that show that the early weight bearing is really improving people's outcomes, and it certainly improves their quality of life during those first few months, where if I had a choice between being on crutches for 3 months or being on crutches for 2 weeks and then starting to put a little bit of weight on, I mean, life is pretty good right now compared to how it was when I was still stuck in crutches, non-weight bearing. So get the information and have that conversation with your team, with your doctor and your therapist, and hopefully you can find an answer that works for you. So I hope that some of this information has been of use to people who are wrestling with some of this stuff, and let me know if there's anything else that you're interested in. I posted the exercises because someone asked for suggestions, so if you have any questions, please do let me know, and good luck and happy healing.